You are on.
Says stop broadcast.
Just do it.
All right, just do it like Nike.
Just do it.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
All right. So tonight we're doing something from Cleve's new place at Dufferin and St. Clair, and although I did like Late Night from Willowdale because that was where I grew up, but I just we haven't done the videos. We did one on Christmas Day. Someone may have watched it where about consumerism and stupidity of Christmas shopping and everything. But this is a more important topic. A lot of people voted for the Liberals in the last election. I did not. I voted Green. But I got caught up in the Justin Trudeau sort of revolution, Canadian Spring. But it all came to a halt in the last couple of weeks. The Globe did an excellent series on how the Justin Trudeau and his Liberal government has approved, $15 billion worth of arms sales to Saudi Arabia. Probably the most despicable, the most evil country on the planet Earth. No question. I mean, there's a country that beheads people and executes at large. Don't get me wrong. A lot of countries do that. China, Iran, the United States. But they're also involved in a nasty civil war in Yemen where they killed 2,800 civilians, at least in their bombing campaign. Saudi Arabia is not a nice place, right? And why the hell are we fueling an arms race in the Middle East? And frankly, why are we even involved in all these internecine conflicts in that region? Syria, Iraq. I'm not even go there because I've already addressed this in previous videos. And the bottom line is this. When Trudeau and his ministers were confronted on the Saudi deal, and they promised us a more transparent government, more honest answers, they delivered on nothing. Volposity, I call her Chrystia Freeland, the star candidate, the Liberals, former Globe Mail editor, worked for Reuters, was on CNN, wrote the book Plutocrats. Last week on Question Period, the CTV news program's Question Period, she weaved and she bobbed and she obfuscated when I asked about the Saudi deal. Why are we selling weapons to the Saudis? Don't get me wrong, there was our deal that negotiated through Harper, and I know there are thousands of jobs in London that are dependent on it. But the Liberals promised us a principled and moral foreign policy. Well, that ain't it. I mean, if you're going to sell weapons to probably the most despicable country on the planet Earth, you're not going to get that moral and principled foreign policy. So she weaved and she bobbed and she never gave an answer. So I want to update the situation. So the other day, Crown Prince Trudeau, Justin, Sultan Crown Prince Trudeau, was in Toronto where he was mobbed by all sorts of stupid people wanting selfies with him. Who are these people? Are they that desperate? Is their lives that miserable that they need a selfie with this pathetic human being? He was mobbed, and at a news conference. I mean, it was funny because you had the two biggest fraud artists in Canada, John Tory and Justin Trudeau. John, stupidity track Tory, who promised us better transit. Of course, you're not going to get that because he loves the photo op as much as Justin Trudeau. Of course, nobody wants selfies with John Tory. He's just a cable guy, just a rich cable guy. And the Crown Prince Sultan of Canada, Justin Bieber Trudeau.
Don't say that.
I never. You know what? I actually fell into the honeymoon period with Trudeau. I did. I didn't vote for him. I voted Green. I voted because. Elizabeth May to me is the most intelligent person in Canada in public life, so I voted for her. So, but I got caught up in the whole idea of a Canadian Spring and more transparent government. But when the Saudi deal came through, and I saw Trudeau's ministers, Chrystia Freeland and Stéphane Dion, just obfuscate and bounce around and say no. They didn't want it. They only talked about transparency. They never addressed the issue of why we're selling we're fueling an arms race in the Middle East, even the Germans are concerned, our allies are concerned. Why is Canada sending weapons to the most despicable, most evil country on the planet Earth? And they weaved and bobbed, they never answered, and they promised us more transparent and more decent government and a more principled foreign policy, which is not going to happen. So it brings me to the Wednesday, I think it was Wednesday, it was midweek, when Crown Prince Sultan Justin Trudeau arrived at City Hall, mobbed by all these stupid people who wanted selfies with him. And at that news conference, they asked him again about the Saudi deal. He weaved and he bobbed and he said, oh, God, yeah, well, more transparency. We promise more transparency. But he smiled like Dr. Evil, like Dr. Evil in Austin Powers movie. Like he just had his pearly white teeth and he smiled. He said, I don't give a damn what you think because we're going to sell arms to them. You know, if you really believe that I promised better government, you're stupid. Because frankly, I'm going to sell arms to anybody because I don't really give a damn. And because I'm Justin Crown Prince Bieber Trudeau, the biggest fraud in Canadian politics. And of course, he was alongside the biggest fraud in municipal politics, John Smart Stupidity Track Tory. Both got elected on fraudulent promises. And yeah, there's a reason why people are cynical about politics. There's a reason why people support people like Donald Trump, because they're so cynical, they're so angry. They know they're so angry. It's misplaced. Donald Trump ain't going to do anything for anybody. He's just a demagogue, a wealthy demagogue. And Bernie Sanders is a sleazebag, and he's not going to do anything for Americans either. But yeah, like when I saw Justin Crown Prince Sultan Bieber Trudeau beside the great other fraud, John Stupidity Track Tory, two guys who got elected on fraudulent promises. And yeah, I said that's the reason people are cynical about politics. But yeah, I actually believe that, and don't be wrong, bringing in Syrian refugees is a good thing, and the Trudeau government has followed through on that, and I'll give them credit for that. But I know that we're not going to remove our planes from Iraq. You know, I know that we're going to get more militarily involved in this quagmire. It's so stupid. We're already fueling it. We're helping fuel an arms race in the Middle East by getting weapons to Saudi Arabia. I know that we're not going to do any positive in that region. Yeah. What kind of weapons, you ask?
What kind of weapons?
Light armored vehicles with a lot of weaponry on them. So we're just fueling, and it's for internal use. So it kills all sorts of dissidents in Saudi Arabia. It's for internal use to murder and kill Shia and anyone who's against the House of Assad and that thuggish, ignorant. I don't even have to go there, right?
Right.
A 13th century medieval theocracy that still beheads people.
You know.
But don't get me wrong, I get it. Iran still executes a lot more people than Saudi Arabia, and China is nasty. And of course, we know the Americans execute people all the time.
What was the name of that guy again? Madawi or?
Yeah, I forget the. Madawi, Canadian.
He wasn't even an apostate.
Anyways, the bottom line is, Trudeau promised a principled and moral foreign policy, and we're not going to get it. And the fact that if he had been honest and said, we don't give a damn about human rights, that would be good. At least we know. Harper didn't give a damn, and we got it. But Trudeau promised a better policy. We're not getting it. They weave and they bob and they smile. And Trudeau the other day with John Tory, Mayor of Toronto, showed his pearly white teeth, and he just didn't want to answer the question about Saudi arms deals and how we're actually enhancing our relationship with probably the most despicable country on the planet Earth. And he just weaved and he bobbed and he smiled, and people took their selfies. It's disgusting. Crown Prince Sultan Trudeau, it's a joke. And it's sad because actually I didn't vote for him, but I kind of fell into it, right? There's a lot of Canadians, the Canadian Spring, the Canadian honeymoon. And don't get me wrong, bringing in all the refugees, that's a great idea, and he's done it, and I'll give him credit for it. But the guy is basically a fraud. In foreign policy, he will be a fraud. He's Harper light, and he might even be worse because he's so sleazy and dirty, and it's kind of disgusting to see all these people wanting selfies with him. And mobbing him like he's some sort of hero. The guy's the creep. He's a creep. He's Dr. Evil in an Austin Powers movie. Like, anyways, and the fact that I'm sorry, like, you should, most people might watch this. You should have watched these and news conferences with him and, of course, his Minister of Opacity, Chrystia Freeland, the famous journalist who Trudeau recruited. Again, they weave and they bob and they don't answer the questions. Why we're selling weapons to the most despicable country? Yes, an agreement negotiated under Harper's government, but they could have stopped it. And no, and they could have said, okay, with the 3,000 jobs in London, and we don't care about human rights. There are 3,000 jobs in London. At least that would have been honest. No, they weave and they bob and they obfuscate and.
What are you talking about?
Anyways, so why are we feeling an arms race in the Middle East?
I have no idea.
The bottom line is, we really want a decent foreign policy. Let's get out. Let's stop creating little Afghanistans all over the place. Afghanistan is a joke. All the blood and treasure that Canada put in there, forget what the Americans have put in there. And all the other NATO allies, the Dutch and the Germans, and it's a joke. At some point, you can't solve all the world's problems. It's time to get out. We should not be involved in Syria and Iraq. Let's pull our weaponry out. Forget it. Let them solve their own problems. I know that's kind of an isolated
You can't
position.
let them solve their own problems,
But yeah, they have to. Afghanistan, I'm sorry. It's pointless. Like, the Taliban is on the insurgency in Afghanistan. You can't keep, if that's what they want, that's what they want. Like, at some point, you can't let the people sort out their own problems. Like, and let's not make it worse by bombing people. It's stupid. It's stupid. We just create new recruits for ISIS, Al Qaeda, whatever, all these dumb groups. It's time to leave. Canada could use, look, we don't even enhance our own Arctic sovereignty. So let's use those F-18s and use to enhance our own Arctic sovereignty. Like, come on, this is all a joke. They always say, the other thing is in the media, they say, we leave. Even though they always say, Obama doesn't even mention Canada anymore because we're planning to leave. If Canada had 20,000 troops in Iraq and Syria, the Americans wouldn't recognize it. They didn't recognize our blood and treasure in Afghanistan. The Americans don't give a shit about Canada. Bob Woodward, the famous Watergate journalist who works for the Washington Post, he didn't even realize Canada had troops in Afghanistan. Where we lost at least 150 people. Like, come on, the Americans don't give a damn. If our thing is, as Craig Oliver said on TV News, what are the Americans going to think if Obama doesn't even mention us anymore? Obama wouldn't have mentioned us if we had 100,000 troops there. Canada doesn't matter. Let's go. Let's actually do something for Canada. So let's enhance our own Arctic sovereignty, which we don't do because we actually do depend on the Americans to do that. And get out of the quagmire of the Middle East. We're doing nothing there. Bombing and just recruiting more people for extremist groups. I mean, let's leave. Let's leave. And Trudeau won't do that, of course, because, he's a fraud. But if we actually had a principled foreign policy, we would leave the Middle East militarily. We put much more money into humanitarian assistance, and we would, of course, continue the refugee settlement, which we're doing. I'll give them credit on that. You got to give credit where credit is due. But anyways, on that, and then since we don't do these videos very often, I'll talk about the U.S. election. Obama gave a great speech the other night, State of the Union. He didn't mention gun control, which is interesting. It was a good speech, but the state of the American Union is a joke. And when the mantra is the state of the American Union is strong, no, it's a joke. Economically, yeah, they're probably doing better than some, but I mean, with 30,000 gun deaths a year, oh, it's a joke. It's a state of the disunion. And why doesn't the United States repeal the Second Amendment? The Constitution of the United States was obviously put together in the late 1700s when there's still fear of the British and they're a fledgling republic. But repeal the Second Amendment. You don't have the right to bear arms anymore. That was done when you were in fear of an invasion by another country.
Yeah.
Come on, it's a joke. Repeal the Second Amendment. Change your constitution. You don't have the right to bear arms. That was a 250-year-old deal. You don't. It's a joke now in 2016. It's not 1787 anymore. So get rid of it. And why isn't the NRA considered a terrorist organization? Forget about Al Qaeda or ISIS.
I'm telling you,
the NRA, with its promotion of guns and its promotion of weakening gun laws, is a terrorist organization. And they're responsible for thousands, probably, of Americans dying every year, indirectly, and far more devastating than any sort of so-called Middle East terrorist organization. Anyways, I'm rambling, but yeah, Justin Bieber, Sultan Trudeau, who wants to incorporate Canada into Saudi Arabia, thinks Saudis are great, is disappointing, and I believed in him, and I'm like a lot of Canadians thinking, yeah, they're not sunny ways, it's Sunni ways, as someone says.
Sunni ways.
Sunni ways, Sunni ways. Obviously, he wants to make Saudi Arabia maybe a Canadian province or make Canada a province of Saudi Arabia, but he loves them so much, we're going to sell lots of weapons to them, and he doesn't give a damn about Saudi Arabia's doing in Yemen, killing thousands of civilians or decapitating people, or I know Iran's a problem, but Iran is so less meddlesome in the Middle East than Saudi Arabia. Iran has its own problems and executes a lot of people too, but it is so less meddlesome than Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is a really despicable country, and the fact that we're trying to enhance our relations with them under Crown Prince Sultan Trudeau is disgusting. Anyways, I've rambled on, and this is our first video, really, of the new year, right, Cleve?
It is. It is the first video. I feel very proud of Andrew.
So we're gonna just end it off here, and but I tell you, I think Obama is committed to gun control, and I'm surprised he didn't mention in the State of the Disunion. Yeah, the U.S. political race is a joke. We don't have to go there, but I do think I do think the Americans need to repeal the Second Amendment, and they do definitely have to consider the NRA, the National Rifle Association, a terrorist operation. I don't think use the word terrorism, but they throw it around, so what the hell? And let's face it, the NRA has been responsible for far more deaths indirectly than ISIS, Al Qaeda, and whatever. So, anyways, we're gonna end this. So we're gonna end this on, because we don't do these very often, but yes, Crown Prince Justin Trudeau is a fraud. It's nice to see him sitting beside the other fraud, John Tory. John Tory can't kill people like Trudeau can by selling weapons to the Saudis and maintaining a stupid military presence in the Middle East. But John Tory's a fraud too. Stupidity track is not going anywhere. And it was just a campaign slogan, and it was good. It was interesting to see both of them together. Two of the biggest frauds in Canadian life, and I didn't vote for either of them, but I did get caught up in the Trudeau mania, second Trudeau mania, the Canadian Spring, and now it's over because he's shown through the Saudi thing that he doesn't give a damn. He doesn't give a damn about human rights. It's all a lie. He has his pearly whites. He's going off to Davos in Switzerland, and he's a fraud. and people still want selfies with him because they're stupid. But yeah, I'm done. It makes you more cynical. This is why people don't vote.
You're absolutely right.
Anyways, please, let's end this before I get more nasty.
Okay, yeah.
And let's end this. But
Late night from Willowdale.
or from Dufferin and St. Clair,
Yeah.
Midtown Toronto.